Cubbies go, go, go!
Greetings to Cub fans of all ages all over the world. I've been asked by Santa Claus to deliver a message to Cub fans everywhere. Don't ask me what my connection is with Santa. I'd tell you, but I'd have to tickle you. You don't want that. Let's just say that Santa and I have been real close for a long time. If you're a Cub fan, you're going to love what I got to say. Turns out Santa has been waiting 100 years to tell you this story, and it's a good one. For starters, Santa is the biggest Cub fan that ever lived, and that's what got him and his beloved Cubbies in a whole mess of trouble. Back in 1908, Santa was at Game 5 of the World Series between the Cubs and the Detroit Tigers, and he'd already gotten to see the Cubs win the World Series the previous year against the same Tigers in 1907, and just couldn't wait to celebrate again.
Hey, 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 ho, 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 watch the Cubbies go, go, go. Hey, 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 ho, 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 watch the Cubbies go, go, go.
The big mess happened in the 5th inning of the final game, which the Cubs would win 2-0. The Cubs already had both of their runs when the Tigers came to bat. Coughlin singled to left, then McIntyre doubled to right. That gave them 2 men on with a good chance to tie the game or even go ahead of the Cubs. This is where Santa got so caught up in the game that he accidentally did something that would have terrible consequences. O'Leary for the Tigers hit a hard fly ball, and it looked like it might go over our outfielder's head. In the heat of the moment, Santa accidentally let a little Christmas magic escape, and well, let's just say that the Cubs center fielder got an early present, because somehow he was able to make a catch that he should never have been able to make. Santa knew at once that what happened shouldn't have happened, and hoped nobody had noticed. But wouldn't you know, Jack Frost, a notorious Tiger fan, realized what had happened right away. It was too late to do anything about it then. But after the game, Mr. Frost called a meeting of the SMCF, Special Magical Characters Federation, to air his grievance. At the meeting, Santa told them about how it hadn't been intentional, just an overenthusiastic response to what was going on out on the field. But Jack Frost had a point. This kind of thing could never happen again. And the Federation, after hearing rousing speeches by the Tooth Fairy, a Boston fan, and the Easter Bunny, a Cincinnati fan, handed Santa one of the harshest punishments ever given out by the SMCF. To make sure nobody in this federation ever used magic again to influence the outcome of any game, whether baseball or reindeer, a 100-year penalty was put on the Chicago Cubs. Santa's favorite team was not going to be allowed to win another World Series for 100 years. It seemed outrageous, an obvious overreaction, but even though Santa appealed the ruling, the appeal was refused. Santa was crushed and heartbroken. And finally, now Cub fans everywhere can know that all this time, it's not been a goad or a curse. It's been a strict punishment handed down. All of those weird things that have happened up to and including the 2008 playoffs have been because the Cubs were not allowed to win the series. And magic, the same stuff that got us into this mess, was what was used to keep the Cubs down and out. Well, that's the bad news. But this is why Santa wanted me to tell you the story he'd been waiting to tell for 100 years. The waiting is over. Starting in the spring of 2009, the Cubs will be just like any other team. Their talent and effort will determine how far they get, and nothing else. If there's a weird bounce or a messed up play, that's just how the ball bounced. No outside influences. Now this and every other year from now on really could be the year. Santa always felt bad each year when Cub fans would say that there was always next year because he knew that there really wasn't next year until now. And now Santa wants all Cub fans to know how sorry he was, but also that he really is the Cubs' biggest fan. And one last thing, this could be the year. Merry Christmas!
Hey, hey, ho, 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 watch the Cubbies go, go, go. Hey, 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 ho, 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 watch the Cubbies go, go, go.
Oh yeah, and one last thing. It seems like there may be one more team that had a special magical character get a little too involved. Santa can't actually tell you what happened, but the character involved grew up on the south side of Chicago. Let's just say that 2105 is a long way away.